What once sounded like a fairy tale has become yesterday's nightmare. The frogs are gone. Their worlds are silent. Their cities stand empty, but they left a warning. The Voidborn are real. They whisper in the darkness. They wait behind the stars. They turn minds against themselves. Cliff Alistair McLean is a legend. His grandson commands the Orion 20, a new ship, a new crew, a new mission. The Voidborn are still out there, patiently waiting. Let us accompany the Orion 20 and her crew on their patrol service on the edge of infinity.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition! Between the stars we ride, Orion 20 on the edge of the tide. Faster than light, we cut through the black, carrying fire on our backs. The frogs have gone, their signal is dead, but something ancient woke instead. Whispers from the void, cold and vast, we chase the future into the past. Orion 20, we blaze the trail, the new frontier. There's bars and walls of fear. Alien shadows, secrets near. We stand together, crystal clear. Orion 20, the grandson's call echoes on. The force in space can make us fall. We are the fire, we are the dawn.
Act 3, The Frog's Gift. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. The Orion 20 traveled faster than any ship of its class, its engines pushed to their limits, its crew pushed to theirs. The whispers had stopped after they left the system, but the memory of them lingered. Every shadow was suspect. Every silence was heavy. The crew moved through the corridors with their eyes down, their voices low, their hands never far from their sidearms. Torben spent most of his time in the briefing room with Kaya, going over the frog logs again and again. There had to be something they had missed, some clue, some weapon, some way to fight what they had found. "There is something," Kaya said one night, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. "I've been cross-referencing the logs. The frogs mentioned a project, something they were working on before the end. They called it the Shield." The Shield. A mental firewall, technology that could block the Voidborn's influence. They were developing it when their world fell. They never finished it. Torben leaned forward. "Where is it?" Kaya tapped the screen. "The logs don't say, but there's a reference to a research station on one of their outer colonies. A place called," she squinted at the script, "Vorkuta. It was abandoned when the Voidborn came. The frogs fled before they could destroy it." "Then we go there." Kaya shook her head. "It's on the other side of frog space, weeks away, months maybe. We don't have the supplies, we don't have the clearance. And Earth." "Earth can wait." Torben's voice was firm. "If the Voidborn are coming, we need to be ready. The Shield is the only chance we have." He stood up and walked to the bridge. "Helm, set a course for Vorkuta, best speed." Commander Rolf stepped forward. "Sir, Fleet Command is already demanding a full report. If we go off course without authorization." "Then we go off course without authorization." Torben turned to face his crew. My grandfather disobeyed orders when it mattered. He saved humanity because he was willing to break the rules. We are going to do the same." No one argued. The journey to Vorkuta took 5 weeks. The Orion 20 traveled through systems that had not seen a human ship in decades. Dead worlds, abandoned colonies, the remnants of frog civilization scattered across the stars like broken glass. Kaya worked through the nights, translating more of the logs, piecing together the history of a people who had been destroyed by their own fear. The frogs had been scientists, explorers, dreamers. They had built wonders. They had reached for the stars. And then the Voidborn had come. "They were like us," Kaya said one evening as the ship hurtled through the dark. "They had colonies. They had fleets. They had a government that told them everything was fine, that the threat was contained, that they would find a way to win. And they didn't. They didn't. The Voidborn were patient. They waited, they whispered. They turned the frogs against each other. By the time they realized the truth, it was too late." Torben looked at the view screen, at the stars streaking past. "We won't make the same mistake. We already have. We ignored their warning, we forgot them, we let them die alone. Then we honor them by finishing what they started." Vorkuta was a frozen rock at the edge of a dying star. The research station was buried deep beneath the surface, protected by layers of ice and stone. The Orion 20 landed on a plateau near the entrance, its engines kicking up clouds of frozen dust. The crew suited up, full environmental gear, oxygen tanks, thermal insulation, and stepped out into the cold. The air was thin, barely breathable, and the temperature was far below freezing. But the suits held. The lights on their helmets cut through the darkness, illuminating a tunnel that led down into the heart of the moon. Torben led the way, Kaya beside him, Rolf and a security team behind them. The tunnel was old, carved by frog machines centuries ago, its walls smooth and polished. There were no signs of struggle, no bodies, no blood. The frogs had left in order, or perhaps they had never had a chance to stay. The research station was at the end of the tunnel, a cluster of domes buried in the ice. The airlock was sealed, but Kaya overrode it with the codes from the logs. The door opened with a hiss and they stepped inside. The station was intact. The equipment was still active, lights flickering on consoles, screens displaying data that had been running for decades. The air was cold but breathable. The frogs had designed their facilities for themselves, not for humans, but the atmosphere was close enough. Kaya moved to the main console, her fingers flying across the interface. "The SHIELD project files are here. They're intact. How long to adapt it for humans?" Kaya paused. "I don't know, weeks, months. The frogs were different from us. Their brains, their biology, the SHIELD was designed for them. Adapting it will take time." "We don't have time." "Then we make time," Kaya looked at him, "or we find another way." The crew settled into the station, setting up a makeshift camp in the main laboratory. Kaya worked on the SHIELD, her focus absolute. The others rotated through shifts, keeping watch, maintaining the ship, trying to stay sane in the endless cold. Rolf found Torben standing at the edge of the ice field, staring at the distant sun. "You're thinking about him," Rolf said. Torben didn't turn. "My grandfather would have known what to do." "Your grandfather would have done exactly what you're doing. He would have followed the lead. He would have taken the risk. He would have put everything on the line for a chance to save his people. He would have found a way to win. He found a way to survive. That's all any of us can do." Rolf stepped up beside him. "The frogs were brilliant. They were advanced. They had technology we can barely imagine, and they still lost. Not because they weren't strong enough, because they were alone." Torben turned to face him. "We are not alone." No, we have each other. That's the difference. 3 days later, Kaya called Torben to the laboratory. Her face was pale, her eyes bright. "I've found something," she said. "The frogs didn't just design the shield for themselves. They designed it for anyone, any species, any mind." "What do you mean?" "The shield is not a device. It's a program, a pattern that can be adapted to any neural architecture. The frogs were working on a way to share it with other species, to protect them from the Voidborn." Torben's heart pounded. "Can you adapt it for us?" Kaya nodded slowly. "I think so, but it will require a test subject, someone willing to let me interface the shield with their brain." "I'll do it." "No," Kaya's voice was firm. "You're the captain, you're too important. Let me." "No," Rolf stepped forward. "I'll do it." Torben stared at him. "Rolf." "I'm old, I've lived my life. I've seen things you wouldn't believe, and I've got nothing to lose." He looked at Kaya. "Do it." Kaya hesitated. "The risks are high. The shield could reject you. It could damage your mind. It could." "I know the risks. Do it." The procedure took 6 hours. Kaya worked in silence, her hands steady, her focus absolute. The others waited in the main laboratory, watching through the glass, their faces drawn with tension. Rolf lay on a table, his head connected to the frog interface by a web of wires and sensors. His eyes were closed, his breathing slow and even. The shield program ran through its sequences, adapting itself to his neural architecture, finding a way to fit. Then he screamed. The sound was raw, primal, a howl of pain that echoed through the station. The crew flinched, but no one moved. Kaya kept working, her fingers flying across the console, adjusting parameters, rerouting pathways, fighting to keep him alive. The screaming stopped. Rolf's eyes opened. They were different now, clearer, sharper, as if a fog had been lifted. He looked at Torben and smiled. It worked. Kaya checked the readings, her hands trembling. The shield is active. His brain waves are stable. The Voidborn, if they try to reach him, they'll be blocked. Torben stepped into the room. "How do you feel?" Rolf sat up slowly. "I feel clear. Like something was there before, something I didn't even know was there, and now it's gone." "The Voidborn." "Maybe, or maybe just the fear of them." He looked at his hands. "It doesn't matter, I'm ready." The crew spent the next 2 weeks adapting the shield for the rest of the crew. One by one, they underwent the procedure. Each time, Kaya adjusted the program, learning from the previous attempts, making the process faster, safer, more efficient. By the end, the entire crew was protected. Torben was the last. He lay on the table, his head connected to the interface, his eyes closed. The shield program ran through its sequences, finding a way into his mind, building a wall against the darkness. He saw the Voidborn, not as whispers, not as visions, but as they truly were, a vast, formless hunger stretching across the void, reaching for him, for his crew, for everyone he loved. The shield flared. The Voidborn recoiled. Torben opened his eyes. "It's done," Kaya said. He sat up slowly. "I saw them." "The Voidborn." "Yes," he looked at his hands. "They're afraid of us. They've never faced a species that could fight back. The frogs couldn't, but we can." Kaya nodded. "We have the shield, we have the technology, we have a chance." "Then we take it." Torben stood up. "Set a course for Earth. We have a mission to finish." The Orion 20 left Vorkuta behind, its crew protected by the frog's gift, its engines burning bright. Ahead, Earth waited, and beyond Earth, the Voidborn. The fight was not over. It was only beginning.